Tonight in class we started talking about student diversity and how our students are different. We talked about that kids come to us from different cultures, different backgrounds, and I wanted to elaborate on that just a little bit so I make sure I don't leave anything out. We talked about a lot of these tonight in class, that we have kids from different races, different cultures, different genders. They speak different languages. They have a different self-academic concept and how successful they feel as a student. Different levels of motivation. Some are really excited about being at school, some not so much. And so we have to be aware of that as teachers, and we have to make sure that we're addressing the needs of our students in our classroom. Hang on one second, I'm going to skip because I noticed one of these slides got just a little bit out of order. Maybe I deleted the slide, who knows, just kidding. All right, sorry about that. I hope I'm not making you dizzy here, but students do, in your textbook talks about how students come to us from different cultures, okay? And it can be not necessarily related to race, because there can be different cultures even within our state of North Carolina. The mountain culture is very different from the culture at the coast, okay? And so we need to be aware of that and be aware of the experiences that our students can bring with them into our classroom. We need to use that as a teaching tool for everybody in our classroom. Kind of the same thing with different ethnicities, different traditions, and different experiences that our students have. We need to bring those out into our classroom. Okay? Different languages, just like I gave the example today of a student that was familiar with the Spanish language. He knew what a uaya bean or whatever, tree or whatever I was trying to tell you about. I still can't remember. But bringing that language into the classroom is so very important. Okay? Other things your textbook talks about, we have to be aware of various religions that are present in our classrooms. In our area here, we have some students that are Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't celebrate holidays, birthdays, so when we're celebrating a student's birthday, they don't participate. So we have to have a plan for that. What are we going to do? Are we not going to celebrate birthdays in our class, or are we going to have another alternative activity for this student to do? They don't celebrate Christmas or Halloween, so what do we do to make sure that student is not in a situation that they don't need to be in. Wanted to talk a little bit about gender. We have males, females in our classrooms. We have to be careful not to stereotype that all boys are good at math, or boys are good at science and girls are not. We have to know our students and know what they're interested in. We have to recognize the cognitive differences. And yes, boys and girls do learn at different rates, and we see that. I saw that as a kindergarten teacher. A lot of my boys had a harder time focusing and learning and staying with me. So I have to be aware of that and know how to use that to improve learning in my classroom. Students come to us with different levels of motivation. So some kids really are excited about being at school, some are not. So I have to provide lessons that are going to engage all of my students, and they're going to encourage them and motivate them to explore and learn what we're trying to learn in class. Again, academic self-concept. How do students feel about themselves as learners? Do they recognize, I'm a good learner, I'm a strong learner? Usually those kids want to learn more and will strive to do their best. Other students, not so much. So I've got to be aware of that and learn how to motivate each of my students. We've got to know our students individually. Okay? Students' temperaments, the different personalities and attitudes that they bring into our classroom. Some kids are very positive, they're excited, upbeat, smiling all the time. Some kids, they're not. And maybe they have an attitude of lackadaisical attitude, kind of maybe a lazy attitude. They don't want to work. I need to know that so I can better meet their needs. And then we recognize, and we talked about multiple intelligences in class tonight, so hopefully you feel good about that. We talked a little bit about students with different abilities. Your text specifically speaks to reading disabilities or reading abilities. Some kids come to us as good readers. Some kids don't. We have kids at different reading levels. We have to use that to plan instruction on our class. I can't give a really hard text to my highest student that my lower student's not going to understand and be able to tackle and use for instructional things. Same thing's true in math. Some kids are really good at math, some are not. I have to use that and plan activities that everybody's going to benefit from. Some students have learning disabilities or learning disorders, and they may not be able to mentally be able to handle a task. So I have to know that, provide different levels of instruction. We call that differentiated instruction in school, and whatever it takes to meet the needs of our students. And there's the multiple intelligences that we talked about tonight. So what does all this mean for our teachers? It means that we have to have empathy. We have to be understanding of different backgrounds, different situations, different learning styles. We need to be empathetic towards them and be understanding. We've got to do whatever we can to meet the needs of our students. And that's going to mean providing different instruction for different students, and that's called differentiated instruction. This is absolutely not easy, just the idea of planning an activity to do with the whole class, and if you get it good, yep, that's not going to cut it. So to remind you, teaching is hard. Teaching is rocket science. Okay? If you have questions, need some clarification, email me. Find me on the Blackboard Instant Messenger. Give me a call, whatever. Make sure you check the activities online in Blackboard this week. The study guide's there. We're going to have our exam next week in class. So if you have any questions, just let me know. Okay? Have a great week.